Welcome to Ekeberg Park with this fabulous view of Oslo, the capital city of Norway. I've come here today to see the other sculpture park in Norway. Vigeland Park is one of the most famous tourist attractions in the whole country, and it brings a lot of people to Oslo every year. But up here on the other side of the town, up in the hills, is another really intriguing sculpture park. It's a bit less known, it's a bit newer, but it's no less enjoyable. Come take a look.
Ekeberg Park is beloved by locals for its tranquil trails, panoramic views of the city and the fjord, and its intriguing collection of modern art that stimulates thought and emotion. Art is set against a backdrop of Nordic woodland, positioned to take advantage of natural light and the contours of the land. You'll find Ekeberg Park on a forested hillside on the eastern side of Oslo. To get there, the easiest way is to use the tram, although at the time of recording this video, a bus replacement service was in operation for part of that route. Plan your trip to the Ekebergparken stop using the ruter.no website or app. It's fair to say that the themes of the park will not be to everyone's taste. Fertility, the female form, and existential questions come into focus, sometimes reflective, often provocative. For example, the first sculpture most visitors will see upon entering the park is this, Deep Cream Maradona by Sarah Lucas. She comes from the same stable of controversial contemporary British artists as Damien Hirst and Tracey Emin. This striking, almost comical sculpture subverts traditional norms by depicting a male figure in a pose that typically features a reclining female nude. What do you think about this welcome to Ekeberg Park? Let me know down in the comments. Another one of the first sculptures you'll see is by none other than Gustav Vigeland. This piece, titled Man and Woman Adoration, portrays a dynamic, intense relationship between a man and a woman, highlighting the woman as the dominant figure, contrary to the norms of its time. It bears a similarity to sculptures over in Vigeland Park, of course, but Ekeberg Park says it is notably leaner and more defined compared to Vigeland's usual style. Another famous name in the entrance to the park is the prolific Spanish artist Salvador Dali, with his piece Venus de Milo au Tiroir. And sorry for my pronunciation there. This sculpture was created during his surrealist period, and it draws on Freud's theories of the subconscious and dream interpretation. The sculpture uses drawers as symbols of the subconscious and suppressed sexuality, which were recurring themes in Dali's work. These sculptures are situated beside these old Swiss-style villas, originally built as summer houses in the 19th century. Today, they're used as a museum and a cafe for the park. It's worth walking around the villas to make sure you catch several of the smaller pieces of artwork, such as these. They are easy to miss. You'll also get one of the first good views across the fjord. At this point, you may assume it's just sculptures in the park, but that's not the case. This looks like some kind of industrial equipment or bunker, but it's actually a piece by Norwegian visual artist Per Inge Bjørlo called Inner Space 6, The Realm of Life. The artist himself said, "Art is a way of thinking. Under the pressure of our time, we need places to correct or adjust ourselves. I would like each of you to seek out Inner Space 6, The Realm of Life, with this in mind, to be made aware of the fact that we're all alone out here." The path around the villas continues past this installation, Still Life with a Landscape, Model for a Habitat, which is based on a project once mounted in New York City's Highline Park. Back to the theme of femininity, British artist Richard Hudson crafts organic sculptures to evoke balance and harmony. His Ekeberg sculpture, Marilyn Monroe, is a striking representation of the iconic actress, featuring a highly polished, reflective surface that mirrors its natural surroundings. Ekeberg Restaurant breaks up the park and provides this spectacular viewpoint of Oslo, but before you get to the view, you must pass this curious piece, Chloe, by Jaume Plensa. Chloe's pensive, meditative state invites reflection at one of the best viewpoints in all of Oslo. This is a great place to relax for a few minutes before continuing your exploration of the park, and it's an ideal place to take in the changing nature of the Oslo waterfront.
So something I've very quickly realised is this park is a lot bigger than I expected, and it's a lot hillier as well. Behind me is Ekeberg Restaurant, and this essentially splits the park in two. There's a lower section with a visitor centre museum, and this upper section above the restaurant, which is much more spread out and much more hilly. Somewhere I really did want to see involved a very steep climb downhill, which means there's going to be a steep climb uphill to get back to the rest of the park. But I had to come here because it's one of the most famous points in Oslo, especially if you're interested in art. It's the place where Edvard Munch was said to have had that feeling of angst, of melancholy, and that was the feeling that inspired him to draw and paint all the versions of the Scream over the years. Let's go take a look.
The Munch Viewpoint at Ekeberg is more than just a viewpoint. It's an installation in itself. In 2013, Serbian performance artist Marina Abramovic created The Scream, an homage to the famous painting. Marina and 270 residents of Oslo screamed out their emotions. The piece is on permanent display in the park's museum, but visitors today are still invited to participate. Whether you choose to scream in public is entirely up to you, but I have to say I chose not to. Another of the park's more curious pieces, Clang, is a video grotto from American installation artist Tony Oursler. On this piece, which sees shifting images and symbols seemingly emerge from nature, the artist said, "I always say you have to look for things in places that you wouldn't expect to find them." To be fair, that's something that can be said about a lot of the pieces in this park. As I began to descend back towards the park's lower entrance, I entered a forested area and my mind began to wander. All of a sudden, I came across this eerie fog emerging from the trees. It turned out I'd wandered along this path at exactly the right time, completely by chance. Named Pathfinder, this work by Fujiko Nakaya creates a fairy tale-like atmosphere in which the power of nature comes to the forefront. It's well worth timing your arrival at the pathway, which is situated just above the pond, to coincide with one of the scheduled displays. The pond is home to the final two works I'm going to show you today. This bronze sculpture gazes down towards the pond, but look closer and you'll see that she's actually caught in a call of nature. Overlooking the pond is the park's most colourful work, one of Nikki de Saint-Phал's iconic nanas. This colourful bird-like creature represents fertility, freedom, and love. In the summer, the sculpture will spray jets of water out into the air every half an hour. The park does have bathroom facilities available, and in a funny touch, the walls are covered with critical news coverage of the park from when it first opened.
So that brings to an end my visit to Ekebergparken. There is a museum and cafe and a small restaurant as well, but the museum and cafe are not open on Mondays. Be sure to visit Vigeland Park when you come to Oslo for sure. That's definitely the number one place to visit in terms of sculptures. But if you're looking for something to extend your visit, you could do a lot worse than come here to Ekeberg Park. If you are interested in going to Vigeland Park, check this video out next.